We are inside the module OWASP Top 10 from 2021, which is part of the Complete Beginner Path. And today we are at task number 21, Security Logging and Monitoring Failures. We have files to download, but before that, let's read the theory. When web applications are set up, every action performed by the user should be logged. Logging is important because in the event of an incident, the attacker's activities can be tracked or traced. Once their actions are traced, their risk and impact can be determined. Without logging, there would be no way to tell what actions were performed by an attacker if they gain access to a particular web application. The more significant impacts of these include regulatory damage and risk of further attacks. For regulatory damage, if an attacker has gained access to personally identifiable user information and there is no records of this, final users are affected and the application owners may be subject to fines or more severe actions depending on regulations. Risk of further actions: an attacker's presence may be undetected without logging. This could allow an attacker to launch further attacks against web application owners by stealing credentials, attacking infrastructure, and more. The information stored in logs should include the following: HTTP status codes, timestamps, usernames, API endpoints, page locations, and IP addresses. These logs have some sensitive information, so it's important to ensure that they are stored securely and that multiple copies of these logs are stored at different locations. As you may have noticed, logging is more important after a breach or incident has occurred. The ideal case is to have monitoring in place to detect any suspicious activity. The aim of detecting the suspicious activity is to either stop the attacker completely or reduce the impact they've made if their presence has been detected much later than anticipated. Common examples of suspicious activities include multiple unauthorized attempts for a particular action, usually authentication attempts or access to unauthorized resource, for example admin pages, requests from anomalous IP addresses or locations. While this can indicate that someone else is trying to access a particular user account, it can also have a false positive rate. Use of automated tools. Particular automated tools can be easily identifiable, for example using the value of user agent headers or the speed of the request. This can indicate that an attacker is using automated tooling. Common payloads in web applications. It's common for attackers to use known payloads. Detecting the use of these payloads can indicate the presence of someone conducting unauthorized or malicious testing on applications. Just detecting suspicious activity isn't helpful. The suspicious activity needs to be rated according to the impact level. For example, certain actions will have a higher impact than others. These higher impact actions need to be responded to sooner. Thus, they should raise alarms to get the relevant party's attention. Put this knowledge to practice by analyzing the provided sample log file. You can download it by clicking the download file right. Answer the questions below. What IP address is the attacker using and what kind of attack is being carried on? If you check the files, let's see. We have the status code, the HTTP status code. We have another status. We have also IPs, usernames, date and time, and the endpoint. Okay, let's see. We have 401s for unauthorized from this IP. It looks like a brute force. All right, so basically this is the IP of the malicious actor, and it looks like a brute force. One more thing to check. Yes, that's correct, but one thing that we should check, if we check by the time, we can see the rapid attempt of these usernames. You can see the time is 21:09, so it's 9 p.m. and we have milliseconds. At 5 milliseconds, try to brute force basically the login endpoint. Awesome. So logging and monitoring failures, right? It's very important to log your application in case of these kind of attacks. Awesome.